The clock has started on the Pittsburgh Penguins. In 10 minutes, we're going to try to do a season preview. Here's a wild fact. This is Evgeny Malkin's last contract year in Pittsburgh. Does this mean he'll be back? Is this potentially the end of the Pens' most successful chapter? Is he healthy? No, he's not. He's going to miss the first 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing.
What?
It's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I know. This is why this division is so hard to rank. When are the Penguins going to fall off? It feels like never.
Never.
If you count the bubble playoffs, where they would have easily made the playoffs, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they were fifth in the conference, and they technically didn't make the playoffs because they lost Montreal. If you count that, I think it's 2005, the last time they missed the playoffs. Do we?
I think 2006.
2006?
No, 2005, everyone missed the playoffs because it was a lockout.
There you go. 2006.
05, 06.
Yes. 05, 06.
Yeah.
Is this the year? No. I am never going to make that bet as long as Sidney Crosby is on the roster.
I'm looking at my rankings.
He's day-to-day right now.
He's going to miss the first, I think, 5 games-ish. So he's not on the roster. But you look like a fool if you say the Pittsburgh Penguins are not going to make the playoffs with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin on the roster, and Letang.
And this is such an important factor. It's an Olympic year.
Mm-hmm.
It's an Olympic year. Crosby is going to be amazing. Malkin is injured. And then when he comes back, he will be amazing. We're acting like he's never been injured ever.
Oh, no.
Right.
Both of them have had serious injuries.
The Penguins are always an infirmary.
It's just, yes, they are. And what's interesting is, of the big three on the Pittsburgh Penguins, Chris Letang's perfectly healthy. When the hell does that happen?
The most surprising.
Yeah. Oh, it's Chris Letang. He's going to play a full 82. What's wrong with you? Doesn't he always?
Until week 1 of the season, he goes out with like a bruised bum or something like that. And friggin' Jeremy comes up from the minors.
Yeah, Adam,
and scores 90 goals.
Adam, I assume you're going to go into the line combinations and everything.
Yes.
But like this Pittsburgh Penguins team, it's a little different because they have all these young guys around Crosby and Malkin who are going to pick up the slack and look to be substantial pieces that can carry this team.
And in a typical Pittsburgh Penguins style, both Crosby and Malkin are not dressed, and I'm just looking at for tonight's game as of this recording. Gensel and Zach Aston-Reese also injured, but they're game time decisions.
Yeah, Gensel's injured too.
So, this poor team.
You lose Jared McCann. You lose Brandon Tanev. Yeah.
Yes.
Cody Ceci.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Listen.
He was a big piece last year.
Well, before we get to the defense, I want to start here, okay? Marcus Pettersson.
Yep.
Well, I guess he's on the defense. He really looks like he's something. Nice little extension. Same with John Marino, Michael Matheson. They've got some youth in Pittsburgh. But I got to ask this. As far as I really wanted to take it in this direction. Kasperi Kapanen. Is this the season finally where Kasperi Kapanen becomes what we all know what he can become? One of the most dangerous wingers in the league. Is this the season?
Oh, boy.
It's a big ask.
It is a big ask.
But he's got it. He's so got it. That skill is there.
It's interesting. He's played a big role before.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's played on a big line, but he's never played on a big role.
Okay.
He's played with Austin Matthews,
Mm-hmm.
but he was a complementary player to Matthews. The last time we saw him as a key player, like a leading player, was in the minors.
For the Marlies.
With the Toronto Marlies. And he was able to do that. He was extremely good. He was very obviously at a young age too good for the minors. We need to see that. We need to see that out of the Penguins. He cannot just be a complementary player, especially without Crosby in the lineup, especially without Malkin in the lineup. And he's got the raw skill to do it. What we've talked about with Kapanen in the past is his decision-making. And sometimes I wonder if his hands can always keep up with his feet. He's one of the fastest straightaway players in the entire NHL. But it's straight into the corner. He's going to be the fastest player into the corner where he'll slam on the brakes and look back for help. That can't be the case
His
anymore.
projection is different, too, if Malkin is there. Because that should have been his center for this year. It should have been Malkin and
Evan
Kapanen.
Rodriguez right now.
And after the first week of the season, it's Jeff Carter, who they brought in last year and had an unbelievable little run.
Yeah.
And thank goodness they did. Thank goodness they did.
Yeah.
Because with all the guys who I mentioned are no longer on the team, Evan Rodriguez is like your first line center.
So if
Formerly Evan Rodriguez.
if it's Jeff Carter at what is he 37?
He loves playing well for teams who acquire him at the deadline.
36.
he does.
36-year-old Jeff Carter and Kasperi Kapanen. It's a lot different than Malkin and Kapanen.
And Carter expires after this year.
He
right?
does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of an air to that trade, and just looking at cap friendly their contract structure, there's a bit of an air of there's going to be some pretty major turnover after this season.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this, like I said, it could be Malkin's last year. Could be.
Could be. I don't think it will be.
It was Jack Johnson's last year. He is sitting on the dead cap here at 1.16, 1.19 next year, and under $1 million the following 3 years. On PTO, I thought this was interesting for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Brian Boyle.
Oh.
Still sticking around.
They might have to sign him as a necessity.
Yeah.
100%.
There's a team that could use some waiver guys.
And I think the main question with Pittsburgh has to be, other than health, Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith. Jarry's save percentage fell from 921 to 909.
Tristan Jarry had an awful playoffs.
He was so
direct result of some losses in that series.
We talked such a big game about the Islanders. I have them ranked first in this division. We know they're an amazing playoff team. Pittsburgh should have beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They should have beat them.
They were up, and they had a couple overtime games, and they played just as well as the Islanders in that entire series, and Jarry let them down.
They should have beat them. Now, that's a young goalie still. I mean, when he made the All-Star team in St. Louis just before the pandemic, he had played 20 games, 25 games really well. So this is still a guy with not a ton of experience. The past year and a half has been anything but normal. But the last time things were normal, he was great. He was above normal. So maybe he'll return to that now that things are a little bit more resembling of, life.
Having a little bit of a look at the defense here, you got Brian Dumoulin and Chris Letang as the top pair right now.
Good stuff.
Michael Matheson, John Marino.
Matheson was pretty all right for them. Actually.
Yeah, he was. And Marcus Pettersson and Mark Friedman.
I thought Seattle should have taken Pettersson.
I had him as the pick too. I like Marcus Pettersson a lot.
And it went with their MO of taking defensemen. I liked him.
It's interesting.
Makes a lot of money.
Does make a lot of money. Manageable for Pittsburgh. And they seem to be able to take players that maybe haven't had the best time, i.e. Cody Ceci, and fit them into a system. That's one thing Pittsburgh does really, really well. And Penguins fans might be like, oh, you don't know the half of it. But Mike Sullivan does have them play a system. I am curious, though, when you got Ron Hextall, what's Ron Hextall known for?
Beating people.
And being a good goalie, but beating people up. Ron Hextall had some fights.
Jesse.
Ron Hextall, hockey fights, that man.
I could have worded it better, but he beats people. Sorry, what I should have said was beats people with a stick.
Ron Hextall was the last great goalie in Philadelphia.
It's true.
Ron Hextall and that's because he could have fought everybody in the crowd.
that is an insult to Robert Esch.
Sorry.
And Roman Czechmanic.
And Brian Boucher.
And Michael Layton.
And Jay, the thing with Ron Hextall, scary guy on the ice. Brian Burke, not a guy you mess around with. I look at this Pittsburgh lineup and I go, for those two to be managing this team and for there not to be more knuckles in the lineup, I'm surprised. And I think that's going to change throughout the season.
I don't know how much this is Ron Hextall's MO. And keep in mind, Brian Burke is not the general manager of this team. It's Ron Hextall. He's the president. But Burke loves himself a big midseason trade.
Mm-hmm.
Loves himself a big midseason trade. And every year he's got Sidney Crosby. You have a chance to win. That big turnover I was talking about, who knows? Maybe the Penguins go through 1 year of pain, flip a bunch of guys at the deadline, and come roaring right back. And you always have the mulligan of, but guys were hurt. Guys were injured.
I wonder, now when I think of Brian Burke managing the Penguins, I think of that famous press conference where he was like, the Pittsburgh Penguins won a fucking lottery with Crosby, right? Like, it was like, how are you going to do that? Yeah, they did.
They did.
And
he
now,
got Bobby Ryan out of it.
And now he has won the lottery, being the president of the Pittsburgh Penguins. How cool is that?
I want to give Mike Sullivan a personal message.
Okay.
I want to warn him
Be quick.
that he better perform early and perform well because he is not their guy.
Whoa.
He has been inherited by Brian Burke, and the Pittsburgh Penguins have a very long history of firing their coach mid-season and going on spectacular Stanley Cup runs.
Okay.
I'll cut to the chase. He's getting fired.
Okay. Your projected finish for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Jesse, quick.
I have them 4th.
Steven.
I have them 5th.
I have them 3rd because you never bet against the Pittsburgh Penguins in my mind.